face before you realized you were tripping? And how many times have you wished to leave this place and find your way back to heaven?
Spook Handy is truly one of New Jersey's modern day troubadours. There's no other way of saying it. He has completely dedicated his life to doing music, and he travels around, and I bet you didn't think people were actually still doing that, but Spook is definitely doing that. He travels around the country and does nothing but music. Talks the talk and walks the walk. He has completely dedicated his life to doing music. A lot of people know him as the host of that long-running open stage over in you-know-where, New Brunswick, but Spook's music really speaks, and Spook has dedicated his whole life to all that. So just like hundreds of years ago you had troubadours that traveled around completely dedicating their lives to their music and their art, it's still happening, and Spook is doing it. Spook is the man.
Hey, thanks a lot. That song's called Be Here Now.
This is the Corner Tarvern, 111 Somerset Street, New Brunswick, New Jersey.
And how long, what are you doing here?
Well, we're doing the Spook Handy Show open mic. We've been doing this since 1985, and we believe that it's the longest running open mic in New Jersey. Haven't heard otherwise, so we're making the claim. Yeah. Tonight is our 943rd show.
And you're keeping track?
We're keeping track. I lost book number 7. We're on book 14 now, and so I have 13 of the 14 books that chronicle everybody who's ever played the show and how long they played, when they started, and all that stuff. As far as memorable experiences, we've had a lot of neat things going here. We've had political speakers come in. We had the Middlesex County clog dancers.
Clog dance?
Yeah. It might have been the Somerset County clog dancers, come to think of it. But yeah, we had clog dancers. We had a friend of mine put on a play here, a full production play that they ended up taking to Germany. I mean, I went on the road. They did their debut.
Did they do a piece of it, or they did the whole show?
It was like a 45-minute play. Yep.
As part of the open mic, or
as part of the open mic? Oh yeah, when we were upstairs and we had the big stage, we had a house poet. We actually had 2 house poets, Henry Tridiac and a guy named Just Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a dance, we had a bunch of dances. One thing that was really neat, one time we had dancers come in. Okay, a jazz band came in. People from the dance department came in and danced while the jazz band was playing, but they also had painters come in and paint pictures while the jazz band was playing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of like
so, multimedia.
Yes, as far as bizarre stuff like that going on, we've had a lot of that. We had a film producer come and show their film here as part of our show. Yeah, well, I've been traveling a lot more lately. I'm usually doing like anywhere from 5 days to 15 days trips. So like this past week I just did I did a few gigs in South Jersey, and then went all the way up to the Berkshire Mountains and played up there. Other times I've flown out to California and did 2-week tours, and other times I played other festivals in New York and Pennsylvania and stuff like that.
This is your main thing to do then?
This is it, man. This is the main thing.
You are a music professional.
That's it. I made the commitment. This is plan A.
On the phone, she tells you all about her special thing. She sighs and moans, and she says she's taking off her wedding ring. She really likes you, and would you like to take her for a ride? Get out your Cadillac and she'll get dressed and meet you right outside. She's a teaser! You wait and wait, but she does not show up. All you wanted was a little bit of funky stuff. Everybody! She's a teaser!
I made the commitment. This is plan A.
And how long has this been a plan?
Well, it's been a plan for a long time, but there's always been a plan B. And I realized this a few months ago,
maybe in January that there can't be a plan B anymore. There just has to be plan A, and that's it.
What was plan B?
Plan B was like, pay the rent, eat well, buy new clothes, keep the car running in good shape and stuff like that.
And that meant another job?
Yeah, that meant doing other stuff to earn enough money to round things out, and that's just too much of a distraction. Being a musician, it's more than full time. I mean, it depends on your definition of full time. You can't even be a musician for 40 hours a week. You have to be a musician 168 hours a week. And when you start taking your focus off of that so that you can do something that's totally unrelated to music, then you're cutting yourself off. You're losing that flow of creativity. And it's kind of like a river. A river, in order for it to be a mighty river, always has to have a constant flow of an inflow, so that can outflow. I'm playing about. I'm doing the open mic, 50 open mics a year. I'm actually going to be starting another open mic in September. So
Where's that going to be at?
It's going to be at Rutgers University at the Red Lion Cafe, which is in the Rutgers Student Center in the basement. That's going to give me about, and that's not going to be every week. It will be every week while school's in session. But that's going to right there put me up to about 70 gigs a year. Plus, I'm doing about another 100 gigs a year of concerts that I'm playing. This adds up to 178 days out of 365. And it's not just like going to work every day and doing the same thing. Every show that I do is different in one way or another. So there are some shows where I have to prepare for 3 or 4 hours, but there's some shows where I have to spend the whole entire week preparing. 2 weeks ago I did a show at the Mine Street Coffee House in New Brunswick, and it was a theme. It was Bush Must Go concert, and it had even a more specific theme about that, because it was talking about the threat to religious freedom in this country. And I spent the entire week preparing for that show, which was on a Saturday. And Saturday afternoon it occurred to me, I have another show on Sunday, which is an entirely different show, and I have to write a song. So in the middle of preparing for the Saturday show, I took an hour out. I actually added up to about 2 hours to write a song for the Sunday show.
La 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 la. I was sitting in the sky, meditating on a pie, when I smelled you walking by. I hit the earth so hard I cried, and it wouldn't be right if it happened any other way, and it wouldn't be right on any other day. La 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 la. La 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 la. You came walking through my mind, opened up my window blind. We were backstage all alone, sunshine raining on my lawn, and it wouldn't be right if it happened any other way. It wouldn't be right on any other day. La 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 la. La 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 la.
When a show is different enough it can inspire me to write a song. When a show's like just another show, you know, sometimes there's not that inspiration.
How many songs have you written in the last half
Not
of
as
the
many
year?
as I should have.
But, you know, what kind of number is that?
5.
You wrote 5 songs.
Yeah, and that's an annual rate of 10. And while you can survive on 10, it's better to be putting out 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm not the kind of guy that writes a song every week, but if I could do 12 a year, I'd be happy. So I'm kind of almost at that level, but still behind. I'm just one of these people. I am never satisfied with my songwriting. I really never am. Never, not with the quantity and not with the quality. The most apprehension is that I really don't have a particular theme. There are certain kind of genres of music that I've never really written a lot. I guess I've written love songs, but not songs about being in love. I've written more songs about falling out of love or ending relationship. But more so than that, I write songs about personal freedom and spiritual freedom. I've written a few political songs, and in the last couple of years, because of the political situation, those are the ones that are getting the most attention right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have one song called Vote, which is a song about getting out the vote. And the last time I counted, there were 8 other musicians who were covering that song, including
Covering it.
which means that they're singing this. Other musicians are singing my song, which is like, you know, that's cool. That's really cool.
You get a residual for that?
No, no.
The residual is that you're getting exposure.
You get exposure. Pete Seeger's one of the guys who's singing my song, so that's like, you know, that's something.
This is something.
It's a feather. It's a big feather.
It's
an ostrich feather in my cap. And I've done a couple of shows with him actually this summer, and I saw him at the Clearwater Festival. We actually played together at the Clearwater Festival. Yeah, and his voice is like, I mean, he was singing, you know, he sounds like he's in his 80s, but he was singing on pitch. He was hitting the notes, and it was heartwarming to see that.
What does that mean to be a songwriter to you?
Well,
What does it mean to write songs? Is it about recognition? Is it about being on the radio?
that's something that sometimes comes as a result of writing songs, whether they're good or not, you know. But to get the real sense of satisfaction inside yourself, you have to be happy with your art. And for me, being a songwriter means having a rich life and being able to report it, being able to report it lyrically and being able to report it musically,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that expresses the emotion of it, the feeling
Mm-hmm.
of it, and that allows other people to share that. And I also like to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
We all, including myself, do most of our thinking within certain parameters. And once in a while in my life, I have some kind of experience that shows me that, you know, there's another way of looking at things. And I really dwell on those a lot. There's alternative ways of seeing the world and seeing life. And I like to put that in my songwriting, whether that's the theme of the song or whether it's one little line in a song that includes, like, hey, you know, there's more to life than just this mundane.
What was the theme of your last 3 songs?
Well, let's see, my last 3 songs. 3 of my last songs. One of them was about a hardware store that closed down in New Brunswick, and the theme was basically the idea that we're at a period of time here where the small mom and pop stores are being replaced by corporate cookie cutter stores that are like basically all the same, and every town is turning into the same town. You know, kids in this country, and I believe that there's a certain balance that we need to have that includes having a free market, but it has to be balanced out. One of the things that free market advocates will say is that there's nothing's free, you got to pay for everything. Well, I would like to consider the idea that having all these stores that are exactly the same also has a cost, and the cost is individuality. You know, and I think that individuality is really one of the most important things in life. We're all unique, divine sparks of God, and we express that in our unique and individual ways. And as the world around us becomes more and more generic over time, it infringes on our individuality. So while Home Depot might be able to provide one-stop shopping for all of your home improvement needs, which is nice, and it might be able to do it at a lower price, which may or may not be nice. There's another cost, and it's the cost of taking away your individuality. I had a friend who went down there to Home Depot. I actually myself have never been in a Home Depot in my life. I've been in Walmart once, and that was just to accompany a friend of mine, but I've never been in a Home Depot. But a friend of mine went there once to buy an extension cord, and he stood online, he said, for 15 minutes to pay for this extension cord so that he could save 30 cents. And I said to him, I said, yeah, do you realize that $1 of that 30 cents comes out of the cashier's pocket? Think about that one. So, you know, there's a cost to that too. So that's one of the songs I've written recently, is about that. Another song I've written recently, well, I wrote a humorous song just about a dog that has fleas. So, you know, just a funny song. A lot of musicians like to write dog songs. If you're gonna, if you want to be considered a serious songwriter, you have to have at least one dog song. And it has to be fun. So that's one that I've recently written.
Dear God, if you exist, hear my plea. No matter how I treat my dog, she's always scratching fleas. I give her pills and powders, baths and bug spray too. But sniffing and scratching, biting and licking is all that she ever do. Once garlic might do good. So I bought bulbs, chopped them up and threw them in her food. But she got indigestion, her breath smells like my shoes. She's farting and fluffing, burping and belching, and she hasn't stopped her sniffing and scratching, biting and licking. What am I gonna do?
Well, I wrote a song about the war in Iraq, and the theme of that song was, you know, the president sent out a message to the insurgents in Iraq. You know, he was at a press conference on July 2nd in 2003 at a point when as many soldiers had died since the war had ended than had died during the war. And so the media was asking him questions, well, what do you think about this? And the president said, well, I have a message for all those people who don't have faith in my plan. Bring them on. And I thought that was a pretty insensitive thing to say, because what he was saying is, he says, you know, come on, try killing more of us. And he's not someone out there who's on the thinking, you know, there's a lot of Americans that don't have faith in George Bush's plan either. You know, there are a lot of Americans who believe that George Bush is a good person, but he still is misleading the country. He's misleading it and misdirecting it. The twist I put on the song, the twist was, bring them on all the people who are working for peace. Bring them on demonstrators taking back the streets. Bring them on vigil keepers for democracy in this land. So the idea is that, you know, and some people, you know, this is stuff that people have honest disagreement about. Whether this war is a justified war, and whether it was the right thing to do, and whether it's going to make the world a better place, whether it's going to make America a safer place. I happen to think it was not justified. I happen to think it was a mistake, and I happen to think it's going to hurt us a lot more in the long run. But fortunately, in this country, we have the right to petition the government. We have the right to protest. And so that's another thing that people have the opportunity to do. You're right about the things that you love. When you see things that you think are not going right in the world, you have an opportunity to suggest alternative ways of looking at things. So that's another song I've written recently. It's called Bring Them On.
Bring Them On.
Bring Them On.
And I guess even if we as Americans might feel impotent that we can't really make change, isn't it also worth remembering that we're allowed to ask for change and we're allowed to demand change?
Oh, absolutely.
Even if we don't get it.
Well, I think
in places in the world that people die just to say something's wrong here?
I think there's two things that are worth mentioning in response to what you just said. Two misconceptions that seem to be pretty popular in American society. One is that you can get something for nothing, and the other one is that that the people don't have any power. I think what happens is that what I think is the truth of the situation is that all the power resides in the people. The only reason why a president can do what he wants to do is because the people give him that power, and they refuse to stand up. Okay, so the power does reside in the people. It's the American people. It was the protesters in America, starting in New York City and spreading into New Brunswick, New Jersey, and other communities throughout the whole country, that shut down the apartheid system in South Africa in 1986. It was the protesters that forced Lyndon Johnson out of office in 1968 for the Vietnam War. It was people who's, and it was the same kind of people that gave birth to this country through the Revolutionary War. They kicked the British out and said, we're going to do it our own way. But the other half of that is that you have to be willing to pay the price. There's a cost to it. And so we can try hard and feel that, if we're not vigilant, we can go and protest a certain movement and then have that movement taken over by some other interest that's self-serving. And people get disillusioned and say, well, you can't win. And I disagree with that. I think the anti-apartheid movement in this country is a perfect example. For whatever reasons, it never got co-opted into something other than what it was intended to be, anti-apartheid, and it worked. The people shut down Rutgers University. They shut down offices and embassies in New York, and the American people, with people around the rest of the world, shut down the apartheid government in South Africa. And we could do the same thing here with some of the things that are going on today. If people believe that they have the power, and and if they're willing to put in the work to make it happen.
You're telling me there's a cost to freedom, or there's a cost to protesting, or there's a cost to having an opinion. You were just saying that.
Absolutely. Every action that you put into motion has a reaction, and people have to realize that we're responsible for the consequences of our actions. Now, some of the actions that we do are good, but we're still responsible for the consequences. For instance, we bring medicine to starving people in other countries, and that's a good thing. But now we're responsible to a certain extent, not forever, but to a certain extent, we're responsible for the consequences of our bringing medicine there. And on the same token, if we want to change the way our government is run or the way our society operates, it's going to cost people's effort, people's commitment, people's vigilance.
What are the consequences for Spook Handy spending his time making music?
Well, most of them are good consequences. One of the things that I believe is sometimes what you do is not as important as how you do it. However, because you have to address the question of how you're going to do it, that might inform what you do. For instance, just for instance, I believe that the solution, since there are consequences to everything that you do, then you have to learn how to do everything out of love. Now, I'm certainly not someone who's come close to really learning that lesson inside myself. And so I can't go around and point to other people and say, hey, you have to do this out of love, you're not doing it out of love. But I think that I've discovered that that's an important thing. And if you really have to go to war, then do it in the most loving way possible. If you can't do it in a loving way, then don't do it. Okay? So, how does that affect me as a musician? Because as me personally as a musician, it's not that it's not that I sing songs and that I write songs. It's not what I do, as much as it is that there's a certain way that I want to live my life. Being a musician is one of the few careers that would work for me, that will allow me to, one of the few careers that works for me in the sense that it will allow me to live the life that I feel is the best for me to live.
What does that mean? The kind of life? Is this a eating thing? Is this a writing thing? What you choose to work? How you relate to
it's
people?
It's all of those, and I want to relate with real people, you know. And everybody's a real person, but when we get so caught up in living in this generic lifestyle, or we get so caught up in chasing money, or so caught up that you know, our whole life revolves around our kids, that we don't have our own personality. To me, it's like that. I don't find that exciting. That might be exciting for other people, but it's not for me.
So, for instance, what was the last thing you bought that cost more than $100?
Besides getting the car fixed.
Well, it would be the car getting fixed.
Getting the car fixed, yeah, and that happens pretty often. My car is gonna be 20 years old in 2 months.
20 years old.
Yeah.
And you just spent $100 on it.
No, I just spent $300 on it.
$300.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I'll tell you what, I have a great mechanic. I mean, I just traveled 800 miles in the last 5 days, and it got me to where I wanted to go. The air conditioning worked. The car drove smoothly. No problems there. But with the mileage that I'm putting on it, every 3 or 4 months, I got to drop $300 or $400 to pay for
It's
something.
still cheaper than $300 every month.
Yeah, I think so. It's still cheaper than buying a new vehicle, and this is part of the cost too. You know, I was saying there's a cost for everything that you do, and for me, make the choice to being a musician so far one of the costs is not having the money to buy a new car, not having the money to live in a nice place where I'm not at the mercy of the landlord, you know. But it's something that I'm willing to do because I.
You know this guy Tom Florck? He seems to know you and really admire you a lot.
I can't figure out who he is. Does he work with Cafe Improv?
He owns Cafe Improv. He is Cafe Improv.
Is he the guy with the goatee?
Beard and the.
I couldn't figure that out. Somebody sent me an email earlier and said there's some guy named Tom Florck and he's doing so and so. You should send him an email. Introduce yourself and send him an email. And so I didn't realize that I knew who he was. And we were communicating a few times over the email without me knowing that I know him. So it's kind of weird. And then I think somehow, like in the last month or so, I finally put it together. Like, oh, okay, that's Tom from Cafe Improv.
I've seen you a few times at the Improv.
Yeah, I've done 2 shows there. Yeah.
And I remember the first time was pretty remarkable.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. It's a great show. Cafe Improv's a good show. Everybody should get to watch it. TV 30 in Princeton, New Jersey.
Spook came to Cafe Improv for the first time, and we were really, really, really honored to have him because, of course, I'd heard him on the radio and I had known of him. And actually, I was good pals with Jeff Fulmer, who was the Spook wannabe, or maybe they were like little twins when Jeff hosted the open stage in Kingston. Anyway, to make us long story short, Spook came and he just blew the whole place away, and we were just so tickled to be able to get him out and get him on TV in Princeton. It was really a special moment, and it just kind of blew me away. That would be a good place to put his
TV, yeah. For Cafe Improv.
Out in, I love art councils too. I was out in Montana, in a small town called Missoula, Montana, and I got asked to play by the Arts Council at the annual Huckleberry Pie Festival. Now, of course, they asked me a week after I had left town, and I almost wouldn't have come back, but I was in some industrial city in another state closer to the coast, and I was so disappointed by the pollution and the congestion that I decided it was worth taking the trip back to Missoula to play at the Huckleberry Pie Festival. But the thing was they wanted me to sing a song about Missoula and Huckleberry Pie. So how do you do that? You know, I was kind of at a loss, but when I got into the car and I turned the key on, it was as if this radio came on in my head and I heard the song. And this is it. It's called Missoula. I'm going back to Missoula to find my huckleberry pie, to cleanse myself in the clear, clean river and watch the college girls strolling by. I'm going back to the Rockies, where I think I'll stay until the day that I die. I'm gonna leave this fast-paced city life behind. I'd like to build a shack in the mountains where natives once called home, overlooking golden valleys where buffalo once roamed. I'd like to bring them back to the Rockies, where we all can stay until the day that we die. I'd like to help them leave the reservations behind. I'm gonna break my plastic piggy and buy a piece of big sky. I'd rather roam with cattle and reptiles that rattle than pretend that this place ain't a sty. I'm gonna stake my claim in the Rockies and eat my food fresh from the vine. I'm gonna leave this stinking city life behind. Whoa, ho, ho, Jennifer, I'm so afraid that you won't understand. You say that we don't have enough money, but listen to my plan. And you know I can make it alone, but honey, if you come along with me, we can weave our dreams together, wear our love like it's a sweater, and chew on our sleeves when we're hungry. So hop the next freight to Missoula. I'm camped outside the shipping yards. We can cleanse ourselves in the clear, clean river and watch the college kids skating board. Won't you come with me to the Rockies and be my huckleberry pie? And I will treat you sweet in every way until the day that we die. And we can kiss this fast-paced city life goodbye. Hey, thanks a lot. I grew up listening. I had 2 albums when I was a kid. Thank you very much. You guys are wonderful. I have a new album coming out in a few months, and this is going to be my 4th album, and the title track from it. This song is about my secret friend when I was a little kid. See, I had to go back into time to find all my material. And this guy used to follow me around when I was delivering newspapers, and he taught me a lot of stuff. And I found out one day that I was the only one who could see him. I used to tell my friends about him at school, and they used to make fun of me. And it wasn't until just recently that I realized, you know what, I should have been making fun of them because they didn't see my secret friend. His name was California Cool. Do you ever get the feeling that there's someone watching you? A shadow darting through the trees, a whisper in the nighttime breeze, a gentle word calling to you. Don't mention it to no one, don't tell your friends at school. The common man won't understand, he'll say, you're going crazy, man, when all you've got is California cool. He's a messenger from heaven with a sacred job to do. Working hard behind the scenes, rarely heard, less often seen, and only by the utmost astute. Everybody knows a fool, but only the hippest kids of all know California cool. California cool. Whoa, California cool. He blew whispers to Columbus, he smote Chaucer on the pate. He offered Saul a different course, which struck him as a fine recourse. He walked this earth as many a saint. He's known by many faces and by twice as many names. But once you see beyond the trap of thinking that there's just one path, the love of God is all that remains. Everybody knows a fool, but only the hippest kids of all know California cool. California cool. Whoa, California cool. His lack of dogma kind of freaked me out. Duality had me stuck in my mind, but his good vibrations really knocked me out. I left both east and west behind. So if you get that feeling someday, walking down the street, try to realize we need to recognize the eyes of God in every living soul that we meet. Everybody knows a fool, but only the hippest kids of all know California cool. California cool. Whoa, California cool. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. My name is Spook Handy. I live in New Jersey. It's a pleasure to be here. This is a song that we all know. Bring up Jack Stock next, I believe. Is that correct? My good buddy Jack. And we all know this one, so if you want to sing along, you can. This is for all those people who are at peace with themselves at a time of war because they're at peace with themselves. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that have had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. You guys sound great. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. There you go. It's gonna be a bright. Gotta get the hand gestures in here, folks. Sunshiny day. Look all around, nothing but blue sky. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue sky. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. All right, keep going. It's gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Sing it. There you go. Yeah, louder, man, louder. Let's hear just the women singing, folks. Boy, that didn't stop John Irving over here, huh? Just the men. I gave you a false start. Let's try that again. Just the men. You know, usually when I ask just the men, this is what you usually hear. Maybe a couple of yawns, but that's good. Yawning is, a way of opening your heart. Everybody! A bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
On TV 30 in Princeton, New Jersey, Cafe Improv. Don't miss it. It's a good show.
What other regular venues do you want to develop?
Well, the thing that I'm most intrigued with right now is playing the festivals.
What festivals have you been at?
Well, I'm just kind of breaking into it right now. This last year I kind of stumbled upon a couple through songwriting contests, and this year I got invited to a few more. So let's say last year I played the Falcon Ridge Folk Festival.
Okay, that's really nice. I've been there.
It's a great festival. It's fantastic.
Is that the one up with the big hill?
Yes.
Or is that the other one?
It's a big hill. There's a ridge at the top of the hill where people camp out, and it's just a beautiful grounds, and it's in Hillsdale, New York, which is just outside the Berkshire Mountains.
And that was just so awesome because you can sit at the top of the hill.
Oh yeah.
And all the sound is just comes right up to you.
Yep, natural amphitheater. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, I've been to 11 Falcon Ridge Folk Festivals.
Wow.
I played at the Clearwater this year. New Jersey Folk Festival is a nice one. That's right here in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And some of the smaller ones like the Susquehanna Music and Arts Festival in Maryland. The Forksville Folk Festival. Forksville Folk Festival.
And where's that?
Forksville, Pennsylvania.
Nice.
It's in Sullivan County. Sullivan County is about the size of Middlesex County. It's got 1% of the population. 6,500 people live there. Beautiful. It's all surrounded. It's almost like a canyon there because it's some very high mountains that are carved out by two forks of a river that meet in Forksville.
How about Bridgeton?
Bridgeton, that's Bridgeton. Okay, I was actually at Bridgeton when I was doing sound for a bluegrass band. I was doing sound and managing a bluegrass band. We actually opened up for John Sebastian, and that was many years ago. And I thought it was an excellent festival, but I haven't been back since. Check out. I mean, there's probably 200 folk festivals around the country throughout the year. So it's a matter of finding which ones you want to perform at, sending in the information.
You're going to do the Philly Folk Festival?
I would love to. I would love to do Philly Folk Festival. We'll see if that's in the cards. Well, that's one of the major festivals. So, New Jersey Folk Festival is a good-sized festival. Bridgeton is a good-sized festival, but Philadelphia Folk Festival is a major festival.
So Spook, of course, hosts the long-running Corner Tarvern, open stage in New Brunswick. And let's take a peek at... We're going back to New Brunswick to find Spook's open stage. We're gonna take you out to the Corner Tarvern and see what Spook has to say.
How many times have you fallen on your face before you realized you were tripping? And how many times have you wished to leave this place and find your way back to heaven? What if I told you that heaven's here and now, and not much more than how you're living? And what if I told you that hell is just a lie? When you lie to yourself, who are you kidding? It's so simple that it's kind of hard, but no wise soul would call it easy. Be it ever so humble, you've got to be here now. How many times have you made the same mistake before you realized your lesson? And how many times have you wished to change your ways to find your way back to heaven? What if I told you you're perfect as you are? You only need to relax some. All that you need is in your precious hands. If you open your heart and let some love in. It's so simple that it's kind of hard, but no wise soul would call it easy. Be it ever so humble, you've got to be here.